During the closing years of the Vietnam conflict, the United States Air Force introduced a number of unique and highly specialized weapon systems, which were eminently suitable to the Southeastern Asian environment. To work these new systems into the existing pattern of conventional weaponry required long and persistent efforts, and it required a dedicated team of professionals. The air crews who delivered these weapons on target, the specialists responsible for the complex electronics, and the ground crews who worked night and day to keep aircraft ready to hit any target, anytime. From the start of combat operations in Southeast Asia, the U.S. Air Force was faced with a number of adverse conditions, including a rainforest jungle environment and weather which could change from bad to worse within minutes. Besides these natural obstacles, the enemy made an all-out effort to impose restrictions of his own. Air Force weapons were not very effective for precision bombing in such a combat environment. For ground targets, munitions were primarily general-purpose bombs that had evolved from the Second World War. Initially, Air Force tactics seemed to be left over from that era as well. They set out to bomb targets that would interrupt the enemy's ability to wage war, factories, power plants, and other vital industries. There was only one problem with that strategy. North Vietnam's economy was largely based on agriculture. It imported the bulk of its war materiel from China and the Soviet Union. So the Air Force had to concentrate on eliminating those supply lifelines. Pilots that had been trained to hit huge factories were now required to hit much smaller targets, but using the same old ammunition. Naturally, their accuracy left something to be desired. For example, from 1965 through 1968, the Air Force flew more than 600 sorties over the Thanh Hoa Bridge in North Vietnam, hammering at it with every type of conventional ordnance. During this period, the bridge never ceased operations, and 10 aircraft were lost in the process. Another early and frustrating example was the traffic on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Though attacked almost constantly by air for years, it was never enough to stop the flow of men and machines from North Vietnam. Obviously, conventional weapons and tactics were not solving the problem. The Air Force needed unconventional systems, specialized ordnance, and a genius mode of delivery. One step in this direction came in 1968 with the debut of the AC-130 side-firing gunship. It was a combination flying avionics laboratory and airborne gun platform. Its computer-directed weapon array has 3 types of side-firing guns, including for the first time a 105mm howitzer. The aircraft is also loaded with electronic sensors for night work. It has proven to be a highly versatile weapon system, used on a wide variety of missions: armed reconnaissance and interdiction, air support for friendly troops, night patrols, and target marking and lighting to aid ground and air attacks. It is also well suited for supporting search and rescue operations. The men who fly and maintain them have scored an impressive record of target destruction. From November 1971 through March 1972, they destroyed or damaged more than 8,000 enemy supply trucks. The gunships immediately began solving part of the problem, but only a small part. The Air Force needed to find a better way to pinpoint targets for fighter bombers, especially at night when the enemy was more active. This need spurred a number of radically new developments. One of these developments was the OV-10 pave nail forward air control aircraft, equipped with low light level scopes, onboard computers, and lasers to pinpoint the targets. At night, the weapons systems officer works from the rear seat. Using the scope, which intensifies light some 95,000 times, he finds the target and shines the laser on it. The reflected laser is processed by the computer for precise target location. Then the pilot calls in the Strike Air Force to hit the target. Even more fruitful was the concept of using lasers to guide the bomb itself directly to the target. Laser guidance and electro-optical guidance arrived at about the same time, giving a new meaning to the term precision bombing. Standard iron bombs ranging from 500 to 3,000 pounds could now be fitted with electronic eyes. The principle is simple enough. An aircraft equipped with a laser illuminator approaches the target and directs the beam on it. Once the bomb is dropped, its detector picks up the reflected laser energy from the target below. It continually corrects its course all the way down, homing in on the target. When several aircraft are attacking a target, one plane can carry the laser designator for all to use. Originally, that job fell to the F-4 Phantom jet. The F-4, stripped of its own weapons, carried a laser designator mounted in the rear cockpit. A later version of the system allowed the F-4 to carry bombs of its own and still laser the target for itself and for follow-on aircraft. One notable limitation of this technology is ground visibility. Laser energy will not penetrate clouds, rain, smoke, or haze. Thus, the always uncertain Vietnam weather often shielded the enemy. Despite their shortcomings, laser bomb attacks soon began piling up impressive scores against targets in the extremely high-threat environment of North Vietnam. The results, documented by post-strike reconnaissance photos, speak for themselves. Another innovation, introduced at the same time as laser-guided weapons, was the electro-optical guidance concept. These are air-to-ground guide bombs with a self-contained television guidance system. The weapon can be locked onto a target and released at distances greater than those of standard ballistic bombs. Once released, the bomb needs no further aircrew control, so the pilot can take immediate evasive action from enemy fighters or missiles. The television eye has two major limitations, both involving ground visibility. First, the system is generally useless against targets that blend in with their surroundings. So the target area must stand out clearly, providing some light contrast for guidance. Second, like laser-oriented weaponry, the electro-optical system will not penetrate clouds, dust, smoke, or haze. However, the system has been very successfully employed against such targets as airfields, bridges, and clearly defined jungle trail areas, targets which can be visually spotted. Weather could stop precision bombing with guided weapons, but not attacks with conventional bombs on larger area targets. These raids, with conventional ordnance, use the Loran navigational system to reach non-visible target areas. The Loran system also provides forward air controllers, or FACs, with armed reconnaissance and night attack capabilities. The pilot who flies FAC missions plays an important, often dangerous role. He ventures into high-threat areas, looks for targets, and calls in airstrikes. He has to know the rules of engagement cold to justify each target as legal for attack. Any airstrike, no matter what type of ordnance is used, demands intense concentration by the air crew. They can't let themselves be distracted from the target by enemy MiG attacks or surface-to-air missiles. The attack aircraft have a number of protectors in the sky. Aircraft that hunt down and destroy surface-to-air missile threats. Aircraft that use electronic equipment and other countermeasures to confuse enemy radar. And the ultimate big brother in the sky, the air superiority fighter. A dogfighter's arsenal consists of cannons and air-to-air missiles. The nose cannon can fire 4,000 to 6,000 rounds per minute. Its deadly effect comes from the concentration of a very large amount of high explosive incendiary in a small area of the sky. The fighter also carries the heat-seeking air-to-air Sidewinder missile. The Sidewinder has a range of about 2 miles and is most effective when launched from behind the target. In the final months of combat, the Air Force introduced the slotted wing F-4E. This version came closer to matching the Soviet MiG fighters' tight turn capability and gave pilots a better chance to maneuver into firing position. The new F-4 was packed with an assortment of state-of-the-art electronic gear, a powerful TV camera for identifying aircraft visually at distances of 20 miles plus, an electronic identification system that helps separate friend from foe at extreme distances, and an air-to-air weapons panel for rapid changes from guns to missiles. At the close of North Vietnam hostilities, the U.S. Air Force had a good lead in air superiority. In 1972, one wing destroyed 32 MiGs, 22 with radar homing missiles, 7 with the heat seekers, and 3 with the nose gun. But the main threat to American pilots didn't come from the sky. It came from deadly surface-to-air missiles, or SAMs. This threat was initially countered by F-105s, carrying sophisticated radar detection gear, plus strike and anti-radiation missiles. Success was limited to brief interruptions of the enemy's radar until the F-105 was armed with an improved missile and teamed with an attack F-4. This hunter-killer team was called the Wild Weasel. A full team consisted of 2 F-105s and 2 F-4s, the former to detect and suppress the SAM radar, the latter to attack the site itself when visually spotted. Those SAM launches usually leave large clouds of dust and smoke. They can be difficult to detect, especially in haze or when camouflaged. A new generation of anti-radiation missiles could be launched from ranges greater than the SAM. Once they reach the target, the missiles detonate a white smoke marker, with the killer F-4s then rolling in and dropping canisters of cluster bombs on the site. Another effective countermeasure against the SAMs is chaff, strips of aluminum foil that confuse enemy radar and make it difficult for the missile to hone in on an aircraft. But the aircraft must fly a relatively straight and level course while dispensing the chaff. Predictable flying leaves them vulnerable to enemy MiGs, so they are always escorted by fighter aircraft. One of the more significant trends in military aviation is designing computers that can share the pilot's workload. Prime examples are the sophisticated navigation and weapon systems of the F-111 and A-7 aircraft. The A-7 is a light attack aircraft that provides exceptional accuracy with minimum pilot workload. The brain of the system is the digital computer, which receives inputs from the initial navigation set, forward-looking radar, and the Doppler radar. A projected map display augments the Doppler radar scope during low-level flight. The primary visual equipment is the head-up display screen, or HUD. In navigation, the computer provides steering commands on the HUD, supplying all the information needed for instrument flight. In visual flight conditions, the pilot can observe the real world while receiving essential data and steering commands. The A-7 carries an assortment of rockets, air-to-ground missiles, a 20mm nose gun, and Sidewinder missiles. They can fly a 400-mile combat radius and linger in the target area for up to 30 minutes. The combination of a powerful punch and long legs makes the A-7 ideal for a multitude of combat missions: close air support, light and heavy interdiction, and helicopter escort. But among the most sophisticated weapons systems used in Southeast Asia is the high-speed, low-level F-111. It uses a terrain-following radar to maneuver through the mountains of North Vietnam at high speed and drop bombs from altitudes below 500 feet. The automatic terrain-following system uses forward and downward-looking radar, coupled with airspeed and altitude data to generate steering commands. Altitude settings range from 200 to 1,000 feet, and the steering commands are tied into the autopilot, freeing the crew for navigation, bombing, and system monitoring. The navigation system is synchronized with the ballistics computer, providing automatic weapons release without the pilot actually having to visually identify targets. With this day-night, all-weather capability, the F-111 is well suited to direct other aircraft to enemy troop concentrations, truck parks, storage depots, and similar area targets. By the close of the conflict in Southeast Asia, the combination of conventional and specialized weapons had proven its worth. Remember the Than Hoa Bridge that had withstood years of conventional weapons attack? In one day, 11 aircraft did what 600 aircraft could not accomplish in 3 years. This bridge in Hanoi had been temporarily damaged on several occasions during a 4-year period, but each success took several days to accomplish, and losses were high. 16 F-4s loaded with laser-guided bombs took out 1,000 feet of this bridge in one day. This immense railway bridge is a vital link in the supply route between North Vietnam and China. On a single day in June 1972, 24 F-4s armed with laser bombs destroyed 6 of the bridge's 11 spans. A prime example of surgical accuracy is the Lang Chi hydroelectric plant, which provides 1/3 of North Vietnam's power. The building was attacked by 8 aircraft carrying a total of 15 guided bombs. The crews were under orders to avoid hitting the dam itself, which was adjacent to the plant, so precision was a must. 13 bombs were placed inside the building, while the other 2 bombs missed by a mere 100 feet. The dam remained untouched. During 4 years of laser guidance development, the Air Force dropped more than 16,000 guided bombs. 84% impacted within 100 feet of the target. 50% were direct hits. But who are the men behind the machines? They are gunship volunteers who inch themselves out of the aft cargo door into the airstream to watch for enemy missiles and anti-aircraft artillery. They are the slow-moving fact pilots who risk their lives to identify targets. They are the crews of the laser designator aircraft. The fighter pilots who guard the strike force from the sky. the wild weasels who protect them from SAMs. And they are the F-111 air crews whose low-level missions make the nights unsafe for the enemy. They are indeed special men, in the air and on the ground, whose combat teamwork develops and perfects both the unique electronic guided ordnance and the new tactics needed for successful delivery. After all, weapons, aircraft, and tactics mean nothing in themselves. It's always men who make them work. And in Southeast Asia, they do.